Alright guys, first leg of the big trip. This is the one that we have been waiting for. We are on our way to Belgium. We are on our way to the Netherlands. We are on our way to Germany to ride Olympia Looping. We're going to ride Taron. We are going to be riding all of these things, but first we have to get to the airport. Now, I am an expert at being incredibly tight on time. In fact, I have just 80 minutes from right now, my apartment complex, until my plane is supposed to take off. So I am definitely cutting it close. The way we're going to get there is first, we are going from Orlando to Atlantic City, where we're going to meet the famous Mike Keenan. Then Keenan and I are taking a bus from Atlantic City Bus Terminal to the New York Port Authority Bus Terminal. Then we're getting on a train, choo-choo, and we are heading to the airport, JFK. Then, from JFK, we are getting on an Airbus A380 on our way to Frankfurt. Once we're in Frankfurt, we're still going to figure it out from there. We have a whole lot of questions that still need to be answered, but I am looking forward to it. This is going to be a great, great trip. Maybe you're not a millionaire, and maybe you don't cross the globe for work. Maybe you're an everyday guy just like me that wants to see the world. This is Points for You and Me, the travel vlog for everyone. Alright guys, just got to the airport. It was supposed to be, my flight was on time, then it was a 5-minute delay, and then all of a sudden it was a 2-hour delay. But not to worry, because I always get to the airport at the very last minute, just to account for things like this. So, I think I'm just going to walk around, check out the lounge, maybe do some cool stuff like that, and we'll find out what happens. Alright guys, so after an hour and 15-minute delay, looks like we finally went ahead and they're starting to board the plane. So I'm just going to still take a little bit of a walk around. I don't know why airlines offer priority boarding. It's more like you'd be willing to pay for priority deboarding, which is probably why they let you pick your seat. But, nah, I have no intent on being a pre-boarding guest. Alright guys, I am back from the lounge, got some free water, can't beat it. I love the lounge, the club at MCO. Go in for free with a credit card, you can't beat it. So yeah, now my flight actually, instead of being 2 hours delayed, it's down to like an hour and 15 minutes delayed. So I'm going to get ready to head over there. It looked like they were deboarding it, but I came over here to find a quiet spot. But yeah, it's not going to be too bad. Flight to Atlantic City is the first leg, and then we got bus, train, then a big plane, A380. Travel tip, whenever you're booking a flight to somewhere and you're using two carriers that don't necessarily know about each other, you have to always have a contingency plan, because if, for example, your one flight, like I'm taking a $50 flight from Orlando to Atlantic City and then a $1,000 flight from New York City to Frankfurt, if my $50 flight gets canceled, I lose $1,000, because as far as the other airline's concerned, I just didn't show up for my flight. So if you're going to be doing connections, make sure you always have at least the night between them. So tonight I'm flying in, it was a 2-hour delay. If I was just going, say, with a total of 3 hours, I might have missed my next flight. But say you got to always be prepared when it comes down to booking multiple carriers. So I had a contingency plan. I had like $500 credit to JetBlue, where if for some reason my Spirit flight got canceled, I know there's a JetBlue flight tonight at 11 p.m. that lands at 1 a.m. in New York. That way I'd have plenty of time to work the problem. I could get to New York at 1 a.m. in perfect amount of time for my flight tomorrow at 4 p.m., the big boy. So don't want to risk an expensive flight for a cheap flight. So always have a contingency plan. Now, you know, guys, a lot of people hate flying Spirit Airlines, but I personally love it. I mean, of course, they're the only carrier that flies to my home airport of Atlantic City. But you know what? I think that they're the most fair airline. Why do I say fair? Well, they're pretty much all economy class, so they don't have a first class. I mean, they have the big front seats, but, all that basically is like a chair pretty much the size of this instead of getting like a, a microscopic chair. But other than that, it doesn't include any perks. And the best part about it is everyone's going to hate me for it, but they restrict the size of your carry-on to be very, very small. Why is that a big deal? When you're sitting in small seats, the worst thing in the world is when you have to put your carry-on bag in the seat in front of you. It is absolutely horrible. So this bag, pretty much the one that I have right here, is pretty much the absolute largest bag Spirit lets you bring. So that's the largest bag Spirit lets anyone bring. So on board, unless you pay for a carry-on, but not many people want to do that, so they keep the bag small. So on board, the overhead bins are always wide open. There's plenty of room. When you fly other legacy carriers, and if you buy the cheapest ticket, which is what I always do, and you're the economy light or whatever, all the overhead bin space is full by the time you get there, and you end up with your bag at your feet, especially if it's a smaller bag like this one, and it's the worst, because now, instead of, being at least able to stretch your legs out a teeny tiny bit, your legs are back like this, because your bag is right in front of your feet, and that is the absolute worst. So make sure if you're, flying an ultra low cost carrier, put your bag in the overhead bin. It's so much better. So like I said, guys, I usually get to the airport at the absolute last minute. And you know what? If you fly a lot, you hate spending time, wasted time in airports, especially when there's always delays or something like that. So it usually works out for me. You get the TSA pre-check, you check in online, you guarantee you have TSA pre-check, and then as long as you're not checking a bag, it's fine. If you do have to check a bag, you might have to get there a little bit earlier, but it especially works out on Google. You can see the odds that your flight will be delayed. On a flight that's almost always delayed like this one, get there at the last minute. It's probably going to be delayed. You might even know before you even leave your house if it's delayed. And then you got time to explore the airport or whatever, do your thing. But if you're going to get to the airport like 2 hours early, which is what they recommend, but keep in mind, guys, those recommendations have just been for years and years before you could check in on your phone. That's assuming, the airlines didn't really have technology. They were doing things on paper. It's not like that anymore. So you can get to the airport. I'd say ideal time is 1 hour before your flight leaves. You go, if you have pre-check, maybe an hour, 15, hour, and 20, plan to arrive at the airport, hour 15, hour 20. If you don't have pre-check, you go through the security with pre-check at most, the longest I've ever waited, and it wasn't actually even TSA's fault. It was a family in front of me that had they're boarded now, that was literally trying to package all the food in their kitchen. So, they had to throw out all their liquids, and then all the liquids that they didn't throw out, the food, they had to do the little bomb swab thingy, and that took at most maybe 10 minutes. So, usually with pre-check, 3 minutes, you just walk right through as fast as you can walk through.
3 hours later.
Alright guys, leg 1 is complete. Now in 8 hours, we're on our way to New York.
The next day.
Alright, we're here. Look who we picked up along the way. It's Mike Keenan, and we're at the Atlantic City International Bus Terminal. And we are on our way...
Back up. International Bus Terminal?
Okay, we are at the Atlantic City National Bus Terminal. Don't tell me it's not national. We got Baltimore. We got Philly. We got New York. That's where we're going. And then just a bunch of other places in Atlantic City. But still...
So one of the perks, the reason that we chose Greyhound is all the features that they provide on the bus, including outlets, Wi-Fi, which is nice, and legroom, which you don't get that on all buses.
That's a feature that's like a great feature list for a plane though. How was the bus ride?
Not too bad. God, my back's kind of sore, but other than that, I had a good time.
So what's our next move?
Next move is we're gonna get on the trains and make our way from the bus terminal to JFK.
Going on the train now? Do you know which train?
The E train.
E? For elephant? Nice. Would you take another Greyhound bus in the future?
not a bad way to get to New York. You don't have to drive. It wasn't that expensive. It probably wouldn't be much more expensive than if you drove yourself.
$30. Plus, we're more environmentally friendly.
Plus, we got leg rooms.
Yeah, look at all that leg room. Keenan, would you say you're an expert at the New York subway system?
I've done it once or twice.
Last time I did it, I ended up going in the absolute wrong direction. Alright, we are in the subway terminal. And I think it's funny because... What the heck's a mosquito doing down here? I think it's funny because there's literally a sign that says, please pay the fare, it helps us run better. So people just don't go in the handicap door. I thought that was pretty funny. Alright, so we just saw something interesting on the subway here. I almost called it a monorail, but nope, we are not at Disney. This is not what the Disney monorail system looks like. But anyway, so there are these guys sitting across from us, and I see him pull out of his pocket like a gold-looking chain, and he puts it in a little box, like a jewelry box, and he starts buffing it, cleaning it. So I'm like, my first thought was scam, and then I'm like, well, I shouldn't really assume the worst in people. Maybe he just bought some jewelry for his girlfriend or whatever, and but then I see in his pocket he literally has like at least 25 or 30 of these things, and he has a friend next to him and they both have them. So total and 100% scam. So don't ever buy anything from random people on the street. They were talking about like, oh yeah, we got to get some tags for these. People keep asking me where's the tags. So they're just hustlers and scam artists. So don't fall for anything like that when you're a tourist anywhere.
I don't know where they are.
This is train number 2, leg number 3 for Keenan, leg number 4 for me, because had to fly from Orlando to Atlantic City, and then Atlantic City bus to New York bus, then the subway, now the air train. So basically we're at the pool at the airport, and you can watch all the goings on of the runways, everything taking off, landing. There's a lot of lounge chairs, not enough for us unfortunately, but yeah, it's not a huge pool, it's only 3 feet deep, but it looks like a lot of fun.